It's shoot day and you start lighting the set. Even though you had a clear plan, somehow you're just not getting the look you want. We've all been there. You have an image in your mind, but you're just not able to execute it practically. In this video, I'm going to break down a few recent lighting setups from music videos and commercials with a special focus on how to interpret a scene. Whether you have the opportunity to scout a location or simply have to light what is presented to you. These days, majority of my shoots are always preceded by a recce, whether alone or with a director joining. During this scout, the goal is to find suitable frames where cinematic lighting is optimized, a little something I call reading the room. Reading the room is the ability to look for a frame that meets certain requirements. These requirements might differ based on the style of your film, but in most cases, it looks like this. Identify all light sources, both natural, practical, and potential. Natural light, we're talking about the sun or a source that you cannot turn off. Practicals are lights that have a purpose to be there, like a lamp. Potential is where you actually consider adding a source that did not exist, but the goal here is to achieve optimal depth and contrast. Step 2. Finding a frame. Does the light in the frame allow you to shoot from the shadow side? In other words, when looking at your frame, is there a strong light source at an angle you can use to backlight? Or will it be possible to create it by taking light away from one side? Step 3 is where you start looking at light placement, and this is where motivation comes in. It's one thing to motivate existing light, but the real question you have to ask is this: is it possible to add more depth and contrast in the process? Contrast can be achieved by having pockets of bright and dark, color contrast between different temperatures, and texture like reflections and shadows. Now let's break down a few examples for more context. This commercial was filmed in a virtual studio, so the backgrounds are not real. Apart from building a custom set, this is probably the best scenario because you can do your designs in pre-production already with lighting in mind. Most of the time I don't have this luxury, but I figured it's a good place to start because it's easy to showcase the motivation in the scene. Looking at the elements in this frame, you can make your calculations on how it was motivated. We have this warm light in the background that we motivate with a similar warmth to create an edge of separation. Then we have this practical lamp, a physical object in the scene at neutral level, motivated by a big soft light. It's a pretty simple setup, but let's take a look at the placement. To motivate the warmth coming from behind, I used the Pavoslim 60C with the softbox at 2500 Kelvin to create an edge and help with separation. The lamp had a Pavo bulb set to neutral temperature, and this is the main motivation for the key light. Here I used the new Nanlux Evoke 150C, matching the temperature of the lamp using a book setup. A book light is one of the best ways to create soft, natural looking light in lower lit environments. Just shoot into a bounce board or reflector and angle it through a layer of diffusion. I find a half diffusion to be the sweet spot, but in this case I threw a quarter silk over a quarter diffusion, and it worked really well. The final touch is a 5-in-1 reflector bouncing some lift into the dark side, but still keeping the shadows deep. Now a setup like this is really easy in a controlled environment like a virtual studio, where the backgrounds are predetermined. But what if you're shooting on location, like in this music video? When I scouted the place, it was pretty obvious that I would need to add strong light and take some light away to get more depth out of the scene. The best frame for the video was in the center to get a feel of the symmetry, but this also meant that the light was pretty flat since it came from both sides. I used only 2 lighting setups here with one variable, lighting the wides with one setup and all the close-ups with a different setup, but moving it around. The only variable is this light in the back. The song starts with it on the cool side, but halfway through we transition to a warmer temperature to enhance the feeling. As always, we first lit the wide shot. With wides, the focus should always be on the space and not the face. So the idea here was to battle the soft flat light with a stronger light from the side. In this case, a Forza 500 Mark II on a 120 softbox just for a bit of diffusion. There are 2 reasons I put the light on the left side of the frame. Number 1, because the left side is a preferred angle I wanted to show when shooting from the darker side. And number 2, the sun was supposed to set more on the left side, but on shoot day it was basically overcast and rainy, making it softer and flatter overall. To spice things up, I've decided to add a light with no motivation, but the idea is to make it look like it exists. Here I used the new Evoke 600C with a 25-degree dish to get maximum output, and being so far away and out of focus, it can easily look like it belongs there. This light helped to motivate the key light coming from the left, even on the warmer setting. Both the Evoke 150 and 600C boast the latest Nebula C8 light engine. Now I would need an entire video to explain how big this upgrade is, but the short version is this: better skin tones, more accuracy, and a wider spectrum of colors, like deep red, enables you to stretch Kelvin temperatures from as low as 1000 all the way up to 20,000. This makes it super easy to match light sources that are under the 2500 Kelvin range, like candles and fire scenes. In the second half of the video, I found 2100 Kelvin to be the sweet spot for that super nice warm sunset feel. Moving on to the close-ups, I used a fixed setup that I just copied and pasted to each scene. Same edge light on the 600C, but a softer key light from the left. Evoke 150C with a 60cm softbox shooting double diffused through a 4x4 quarter silk. I opted for this setup because it's quick to move around, providing soft light and enough to put some catch in the eyes. On the shadow side, I brought in a 4x4 floppy for negative fill, and this really helped to eliminate some of the light coming from above, maintaining shallow depth in the faces. This setup was really easy to duplicate for every close-up because you can get quite close without seeing any lights or modifiers. One of the issues we had with the location was the openings in the roof. It rained on and off, creating a hazard for our lights at certain spots. This is one of the reasons I opted for the Evokes, because they are IP66 rated, making them stormproof. The 600C created great separation, and being so strong actually bounced a bit of light from the quarter silk, which helped to blend the temperatures. So both on cool and warm settings, the 150C felt more motivated without changing the temperature on it. The intensity also created beautiful flares throughout. Lens-wise, I used a 24-70mm on autofocus for all the gimbal shots because I didn't have a focus puller, but for all the handheld scenes, I used a set of Typox Amero Cs, quickly becoming my go-to lenses, especially for solo shoots, because the shorter focus throw makes it easy to pull focus yourself while keeping it steady. Something I love about the 150 and 600C is the ballast has been eliminated, making it more compact, but on the 600C, you still have a nifty corded remote for manual operation if you need to adjust crucial settings without taking the light down. Of course, both lights can easily be controlled via DMX and Bluetooth, an essential part of the next example. Also a music video. This was a Euro scene we filmed for the launch of the Sony a7 Mark V. I've always wanted to shoot in a theater like this, and a top light is almost a no-brainer, so I decided to go big and soft. A big soft source from above makes it easy to light the wides and close-ups with minimal setup changes. When I scouted the location, I initially wanted to motivate the warmer light from behind, but on set I changed my mind to go for something cooler to create color contrast. The background gave me a reading at 1900 Kelvin, a quick match with one of the Evokes, so I went for the 150C on a projector mount to serve as a hard edge light. Eventually, I went all the way to 20,000 Kelvin to intensify the color contrast. In this case, the light serves as a practical spotlight, and I deliberately put it in the center in order to get flares as the camera moves across the frame during the performance. So starting from before, you can see the little warmth coming from the background that could have been motivated with an extra light. But now we get a nice cool light creating more separation between the subject and the background. Next, we've got the top light, and here I used an Evoke 600Z on a 120 softbox, shooting double diffused through a big 20x20 quarter silk. Using the theater's fly bars, it was possible to raise the entire setup higher for the wides and drop it much lower for the close-ups. The top light alone doesn't seal the deal, and we still needed a strong source from one side for more definition in the faces. I used the same light for wides and close-ups. I just moved it closer and further. A Pavoslim 120C shooting double diffused through a quarter silk, also serving as a catch light, which brings some life to the eyes. The subject often looked up, down and sideways, and this is where the top light really helps to retain some depth in the face, even when shooting front on. Although every scenario is unique, this recipe is something that can be replicated everywhere. Identify all light sources. Find a frame that is backlit, and then motivate or create light sources to obtain optimal depth. If you want to go deeper and learn even more, keep an eye out for my lighting course, dropping in the next couple of months. The course will take you through the entire workflow of set lighting, from scouting to lighting planning to practical lighting tips and techniques. Link in the description below. A massive thanks to Nanlite and Nanlux Global for sponsoring this video. I'll catch you in the next one.